Okay, you log in. We'll set then, and madam, then you relax. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Fine. Arjun sir,
Yes, sir.
check waiting room. Madam will be logging through mobile.
Yeah, I'm checking.
तीनशे चालू आहे ओके तीनशे तीनशे ऑडिओ ऑडिओ हे करून टाकू
Arjun sir,
Yes, sir.
madam join.
No. हॅलो. हा बोल. कुठेही झूम पण आहे, युट्यूब पण आहे, दोन्ही देऊ का? काय ना, ती फीडबॅकची लिंक तुला शेअर करतो ना. आले ना पहिले सर्टिफिकेट?
Arjun sir, madam join.
I cannot admit the people's 180 waiting.
No. Wait, we'll admit all at a time. We'll admit 200 people at a time. No issue. Arjun sir,
Other.
we'll admit.
Yes.
We'll admit and switch off their videos because it's 11:03. Madam is joining. Madam has an internet issue.
Santosh sir. Join.
Santosh sir also join. Yeah.
Yes.
Santosh sir को co-host. Santosh sir should be co-host. Santosh sir.
My audio. Adhikar sir, please check my audio. Please check
Yeah,
my
yeah.
audio.
Yeah, you're audible.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Sir,
Hello.
Santosh sir, we'll start admitting the participants. Only madam has to connect. Madam is trying to joining from the
Yes, sir.
mobile. Okay?
Okay.
Yeah. Terrace sir, Arjun sir, start admitting the participants.
Hello.
Terrace. Yes, sir.
Can you send the YouTube link on the WhatsApp?
Sir, I am going to definitely share once it is streamlined properly. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, it will take another 2 to 3 minutes.
No problem.
Just I will brief Santosh sir.
Right.
The flowchart of the event once again. Vinit sir. Yeah, Vinit sir will be initiating. Madam
Yes.
will be welcoming. After that, Dr. Gitesh Padhe will be introducing the speaker. Then the speaker will be sharing the screen. And after the presentation, 2-3 questions will be, after moderation of the particular speech by Vinit sir, Vinit sir will be taking 2-3 questions. And then vote of thanks will be given by Santosh sir. And at the end, national anthem will be played for the today. And after national anthem, before national anthem, Vinny sir will be announcing regarding the feedback of the webinar. That's all. अरे बाप रे, फिर ठीक है. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, yeah.
Asgekar sir, are you going to give some introductory remarks in place of madam?
Madam is not going to join. Okay, you just carry on and hand over to Gitesh Padhe sir.
Okay, sir. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Hello, Vinit sir.
Hello. Yes, sir.
Yeah, Santosh sir. Hello, Santosh sir. Okay, Santosh sir is connected but not responding. No problem. Vinit sir.
Yes.
Yeah, and Dr. N.V. Thakkar sir. Hello.
Yes. Yes,
Yeah,
doctor.
fine. Yeah, there is some connectivity issue from the principal madam.
Uh-huh.
So she has given the permission to start the session.
Yeah.
So with your permission and our IQC coordinator Santosh sir, I request Dr. Vinit Vaidya to initiate the today's webinar.
Yeah.
Dr. Vinit Vaidya sir, please.
Okay, sir. A very good morning to one and all present for the third session of the national level webinar series organized by Thakur College of Science and Commerce. Today, we are going to witness Dr. N.V. Thakkar, the former controller of examination of Shivaji University, Kolhapur. Before that, I just want to give you a brief about Thakur College of Science and Commerce. The college initiated junior college in 1992, started with the Faculty of Commerce in 1997, which was further joined by Faculty of Science in 1999. Today, the college is boasting of around more than 14,000 students and 350 staff members for junior and degree college together. The college has been granted the autonomous status by the UGC New Delhi for the time span of 10 years, which is effective from June 2019. The college is ISO 9001-2015 certified. The college has completed 3 cycles of NAC with A grade in the third cycle, and the college has been rated amongst top of the colleges by the Times of India this year and has been awarded as the edupreneur to do the innovations and research in the field of education. As per the ranking which has been given by the education world, the college has been placed on the 55th rank in India, 15th rank in Maharashtra, and 13th rank in Mumbai amongst top colleges which are going for the innovations in education. With this brief introduction, I would like to initiate today's series. I welcome Dr. Gitesh Padhe, the head of the Department of Physics, to give introduction of Dr. N.V. Thakkar. Dr. Gitesh Padhe, please.
Thank you, Vinit. Thank you very much. Hello.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Yes. A very good morning to one and all present online today. On behalf of Thakur College Management, Principal, IQAC Coordinator, Organizer, and all the participants, I welcome you, sir, for the third day of National Webinar. It gives me an immense pleasure to introduce today's distinguished speaker, Professor N.V. Thakkar. Professor N.V. Thakkar obtained his MSc and PhD degree in Inorganic Chemistry from University of Mumbai. In 1970, he started working as a lecturer in chemistry at Institute of Science, a renowned, reputed, and premier institute for postgraduate teaching and research in India, where he went on to becoming a reader and then professor in chemistry. He retired in 2005 on superannuation as a professor and head of chemistry and environmental science department, having teaching and research experience of over 35 years. Sir also worked as a controller of examination at Shivaji University, Kolhapur from 2005 to 2007, and as an officer on special duty of Central University of Rajasthan from 2009 to 2011. His area of research interest includes synthesis, characterization, and applications of coordination compounds, trace metal analysis, etc. He has guided 21 students for their research degree and published more than 50 papers in reputed international journals. He has written textbooks of inorganic chemistry for undergraduate course under University of Mumbai. Professor Thakkar is a life member of various professional and other organizations. He has worked in various committees of parent as well as other universities. He also delivered n number of guest lectures at various conferences, refresher course, workshop at various colleges and university across India. With this introduction, now I request Professor Thakur to start the session. Over to Vinny.
Thank you so much, Gitesh sir, for giving such a wonderful introduction of sir. And now may I kindly request Professor V.N. Thakur to please take over and go ahead with the session. Professor V.N. Thakur. Over to you, sir.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Please go ahead.
Okay. Hello and good morning to you all. And thank you, Dr. Padde, for the nice introduction.
Yes, thank you, sir.
It is indeed a pleasure to be on this webinar to talk on changing scenario in higher education evaluation reforms. At the outset, for giving me this opportunity, I wish to thank the authorities of Thakur College, especially the principal, Dr. Chakravarti Madam, and Vice Principal, Dr. Sashikant Ajgekar. I also would like to thank all the faculty members and the other staff who is involved with the website, with this webinar for the support. Examination system is a backbone of any university or institution of higher education. Its reputation depends on how the examination system works. If the results are reliable, declared on time, and free from any complaints, the university or the institution has a reputation and is on demand. The objectives of this webinar is to throw some light on the ways and means which can be undertaken by the institutions of higher education to improve the methods of assessment of students and thereby improve the quality and standards of higher education in our universities and colleges. It will also provide insight into the various important aspects such as learning outcome-based education, various modes of assessment, use of technology in evaluation, use of question bank, etc. It will possibly lead you to the points to ponder and take required steps at your end in the proposed direction. With this prelude, let me now go over to the topic proper. Can you see the screen?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, it is visible.
And the PPT is full screen?
Yeah, it is a full screen.
Good.
Yeah.
Higher education in India today is at crossroads. A lot of changes are taking place and many more will take place in the years to come. These changes are taking place because India is growing. It's now tending to become a global player. It's expanding its higher education system. The job requirements are changing. The nature of old jobs is changing. New jobs are getting created, and so on. The pace at which the changes are taking place will increase as ideas embedded in the new education policy of the government starts taking shape, and also as technological interventions start invading the field of higher education. This pace of changing scenario will now be further fueled due to the current disruptive pandemic COVID-19 in the post-corona period. In recent decades, India has taken a giant leap in the field of higher education. Today, India's higher education system is the third largest in the world in terms of size after the United States and China. It has expanded at a fast pace, having added nearly 20,000 colleges and 8 million students in the decade 2000 to 2010. Let us take one indicator, the GER. The GER, or the gross enrollment ratio, indicates the percentage of the eligible young population in the age group of 18 to 23 years going in for higher education. The GR for India increased from about 9.5% to 20.4% during this period, 2000 to 2010. In 2018-19, the GR was 26.3. If one makes a comparison, at the time around our independence, we had only 20 universities and less than 500 colleges with only about 241,000 students taking to higher education. On the other hand, in 2016, we had nearly 800 universities, over 39,000 colleges, nearly 12,000 standalone institutions, and nearly 35 million students in higher education. And these figures are even better today in 2020. In terms of numbers, it is indeed a giant leap. Higher education in India today is undergoing a transformation. A major challenge before the country is to create a skilled resource of young population for changing and growing India in 21st century. There are also other challenges like to bring equity, improve quality of higher education, improve employability of the students, and bring transparency. To bring transparency, accountability, and credibility to the system. Today, the country spends a lot on education, but against that, arguably, there is much less accountability, and the return in terms of quality is even lesser. Then there is this lack of required infrastructure and technology backup, shortage of qualified faculty, political interference, etc. But we will have to find ways if we want to progress and achieve our dream to be superpower in future. A major challenge is GER. India has set before it an aim to increase the GER from 24.5% in 2015-16 to 30% by 2020-21 and further to 50% by 2035. Surely an ambitious but a tall target. Consider the fact that for developed countries like USA, UK, Australia, etc., the GER is much higher, over 70%. Even for a small country like South Korea, which got independence around the same time as India, the GR is higher than even 90%. As far as today's theme is concerned, the most important challenge is to improve the academic quality, for which one of the latest UGC initiative is the reforms in our examination system. The quantitative expansion of our higher education is impressive, no doubt, and will certainly improve further in future. However, the quality leaves much to be desired. This leads to the need for improvement in quality of our higher education system. This issue has received attention for quite many years. The UGC has taken a number of steps, which include regular periodic revision of curriculum, introduction of choice-based credit system, development and continuous revision of curriculum based on learning outcomes, that is learning outcome-based education, that is LOB, and many others. In continuation of this initiative, examination or the evaluation reforms is the next milestone to be achieved. And this is the topic for our discussion today. Why are examination reforms needed? The limitations of the present examination system are well known. This makes the need for evaluation reforms relevant. However, evaluation should be primarily linked to the teaching and learning methods adopted and should be adaptable to the situation. In today's discussion, we shall restrict ourselves to the examination reforms. Most of you participants are teachers, and therefore you will agree that we must assess the students with the right methods in right manner and provide timely and correct feedback on what he has learned, or still better, what he knows. Hence, we must introspect and examine. Are we really doing this? If not, then a change is required. Let me introduce the famous quote by the authors of the book on assessing students' learning in higher education. It says, if you want to change students' learning, then change the method of assessment. In other words, you can bring about improvement in the students' academic quality and standard through change in their assessment or examination methods. Relevant to this is what Biggs has said. He says, students learn what they think they will be assessed on, not what is there in the curriculum. How true. As teachers, I'm sure you will surely appreciate this. And if this is so, then the trick is to make sure that the assessment takes and if this is so, then the trick is to make sure that the assessment tasks mirror what you intended them to learn. And therefore, the examination reforms become important. Taking initiative in this direction, in May 2018, UGC constituted a committee of experts headed by Professor Manikrao Salunke, Vice Chancellor, Bharati Vidyapeeth Pune, to recommend examination reforms. The committee has submitted its final report to the UGC. It is now available on UGC website. This presentation and today's discussion is based partly on the report of this UGC committee and partly on my own views and experience. Before we move further, it's necessary to differentiate between examination and evaluation. Although often taken these two together as one or synonymous, however, they are not. There is difference between the two. Current system of assessment of the students is through examination, mainly administered at the end of a semester or at the end of a year by the affiliating university. It is mainly based on the memory-based testing. Evaluation, on the other hand, is the systematic process of collecting, analyzing, and interpreting information to determine the extent to which the students are achieving instructional goals or the objectives. Here, the assessment of the students is done against the specific criteria linked to the well-defined outcomes expected of a program or of a course. In general, under the present examination system, we assess the students on the basis of his response to what we ask in the examination. and not on the basis of the assessment of what he knows. The ability of students is basically decided by end examinations and not on the basis of overall performance of the student on a continuous basis. Scoring more marks is the sole aim of the students, which may not result in instilling curiosity and creativity among the students. Some of the limitations of the current examination systems are listed here. The result is lack of desired level of knowledge and expertise. The current examination system thus faces the challenges of validity, reliability, and objectivity, and has remained largely unchanged for quite some time. In the knowledge economy, memorizing of concepts and facts is not enough. Rather, students need to understand the concepts. They should have the ability to work with these concepts to create new ideas, new theories, new products, and new knowledge. They should be able to critically evaluate what they read and go through, learn integrated knowledge, and be responsible contributors. The assessment conducted by institutions in the Western world provides such platforms. Hence, these institutions are more preferred ones. They are in more demand, even if they are more expensive. Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, OECD, is a group of 37 countries, mainly the developed ones. Its finding in a study indicate that marks and grades are increasingly seen by students as commodities with a purchase price and spending power. In other words, students know that investment in fees, however high they may be, will generate a lifetime return, and therefore they are always ready to go for the best known universities, however expensive they may be. It may be noted that most reputed institutions in the Western countries, the student assessment is based almost entirely on the internal evaluation methods. As mentioned earlier, the assessment of the students should be aligned to what learning outcomes you expect from them. Here, Bloom's taxonomy is used. Bloom's taxonomy is a classification of the different objectives and skills that teachers set for their students. As per the learning objectives of a program or a course or a unit, the corresponding right types of assessment methods should be used for the assessment of students. Learning outcomes are the objectives or the statements of what students should know, understand, or be able to demonstrate after completion of a process of learning. The learning outcomes, PLOs, CLOs, or ULOs, meaning the program learning outcomes, the course learning outcomes, or the unit learning outcomes should be clearly defined, and it should be possible to validly assess them. That is, they should lend themselves to proper assessment. The emphasis here is on learners and his ability to do something, with the focus on the outcome of the teaching, learning, and the assessment. Program education objectives depend upon the goals, mission, and vision statements of the institutions. This can vary with the institutions. Some examples of these objectives can be the academic objectives, like intellectual strength, general knowledge, scientific temper, self-reliance, interdisciplinary exposure, aptitude, independent thinking, reasoning ability, etc. Moral and spiritual values can include emotional maturity, ethical values, simple living, selfless service, humility, truthfulness, dignity of labor, high moral character, physical and mental wellness, etc. On the other hand, social sensibilities can include national culture and heritage, tolerance and diversity, national integration, civic sense, respect of rights, understanding of rural life, etc. The government, through national education policy, aims to make India a knowledge superpower by equipping students with the requisite skills to meet the contemporary and future needs of the country and focus on development of life skills and the 21st century skills. Here are some typical learning outcomes in higher education. These learning outcomes can be knowledge, comprehension, application, analysis, synthesis, evaluation, etc. These are from the Bloom's taxonomy. The others could be problem solving, working alone and in teams, personal and interpersonal skills, communication, information literacy, and many others. You often find that a student may know more than the teacher. The teacher often has no longer has at his command of all the information that may be available. He therefore encourages students to use information technology creatively and imaginatively. Bloom's taxonomy is a set of 3 graded domains or models used to classify educational learning objectives into levels of complexity and specificity. The models organize learning objectives into 3 different domains. These domains are cognitive, affective, and psychomotor. These domains are different. The cognitive domain means the mental skills or the knowledge. Affective meaning growth in feelings or emotional areas, that is attitude. And the psychomotor domain means the manual or physical skills, that is total overall skills. The revised Bloom's taxonomy takes the form of 2-dimensional table. One dimension is that of knowledge, that is the kind of knowledge to acquire. And the second dimension is the cognitive process or the process used to learn these domains. Cognitive process dimensions, Here, the new terms are defined as remember, to understand, to apply, to analyze, evaluate, and create. The domain remember includes retrieving, recognizing, and recalling relevant knowledge from long-term memory. Here, the questions from the Bloom's taxonomy which are relevant is what is this, where is this situated, find from here, say for example, find Nagpur in the map of India lists the qualities of a human being, a good human being, etc. The second domain is understand, which includes constructing meaning from oral, written, and graphic messages through interpreting, exemplifying, classifying, summarizing, inferring, comparing, and explaining. Applying, on the other hand, means carrying out or using a procedure through executing or implementing. Analyzing means breaking material into constituent parts, determining how the parts relate to one another and to an overall structure or purpose through differentiating, organizing, and attributing. Evaluate, on the other hand, means making judgments based on criteria, standards through checking and critiquing, create, putting elements together to form a coherent or functional whole, recognizing elements into new patterns, and structuring through generating, planning, or producing. These are what it means by the application of Bloom's taxonomy. Now we come to the assessment. What should be the objectives of assessment? The objectives of the assessment should be in tune with or aligned to the learning outcomes which you have already set for the students. Broad objectives of the assessment should be to build students' abilities through acquiring knowledge, skills, and attitudes, and promote innovation and creativity. To ensure attainment of expected graduate attributes, PLOs and CLOs, the program learning outcomes and the course learning outcomes. To foster the quality of teaching learning through feedback, continuous improvements, and through reliable and transparent assessment procedures. And finally, to inquire, demonstrate, and improve students' learning or unit performances. Aligning the intended learning outcomes with assessment is crucial because learning outcomes prescribe what students are expected to demonstrate, what they have learned, and the assessment plan shows how they will demonstrate their learning. Hence, learning outcomes and assessments are two elements that should operate in parallel manner. This will therefore mean defining the intended learning outcomes, choosing learning activities, assessment types, which are likely to lead to attaining each learning outcome, which is called mapping. Each question of internal assessment mode, as well as the external examination, should be linked to the course learning outcome. Assessment modes must be mapped to Bloom's taxonomy. It is very important to note here that if the learning outcomes are clearly defined and written, the assessment becomes quite easy to plan. Excuse me. Now, the next task is to align assessment to Bloom's taxonomy. Here are some indicators. These are given here in slide. This slide may not be very easy to grasp for you, but then this slide is available on the UGC website under this report of the committee. One can go through. This slide contains all the Bloom's taxonomy domains, right from remembering to understanding to applying to analyze, evaluate, and create. Correspondingly, the teaching and learning activity that is associated with these domains, assessment methods which can be used, and the sample assessment. Thus, the alignment of learning activities, assessment type chosen, and learning outcomes means that students know how their achievements will be measured. This slide provides an indication as to the type of assessment and teaching learning activity to be adopted in order to achieve the intended learning outcomes. Note here that learning outcomes are based on the revised Bloom's taxonomy. Let us now look at the different types of assessment. Depending on the basis, the assessment types can be classified. The assessment types can be based on purpose, which can be either summative or formative, that is, at the end of a semester or at the end of a year or at the end of a course, etc. And formative, that is, while going through this process, or it can be both. They can be based on nature of data and can be quantitative or qualitative, or they can be based on domain, which can include scholastic and non-scholastic or non-academic achievements. Further, the assessment types can be based on measurement standards. That is, the assessment can be with reference to a criteria, a norm, or it can be self-referenced, especially when no criteria or norms are available. Further, classification can be based on direct or indirect method of assessment. Let us look at different methods of assessment. A number of methods of assessment are available under different modes like written mode, oral mode, practical mode, integrated mode, and so on. You are possibly familiar with many of these, and you may be even using some of them. Once the objectives or learner attributes are defined or specified, the next task is to find what methods can be used for their assessment. Characteristic attributes identify learners' competencies, and hence assessment methods should be carefully designed in accordance with the learner attributes. It is important to remember that characteristic attributes identify the competencies that must be acquired by each student, and all the curriculum assessment must be designed with characteristic learner attributes in mind. You can see each type of assessment under formative and summative category. Formative or summative category is correlated to the nature of questions and can be used to evaluate a particular attribute. Here, the type of assessment is given, say like for example, written, different types of written and oral assessment and so on. The category to which they belong, formative or summative, etc. And the methods of the relevant questions or the types of questions that can be asked, for example, multiple choice questions, written short answers, long answers, etc. And the attribute which can be evaluated by employing such methods of assessment. Depending on the type of assessment, different attributes can be evaluated. And in other words, different methods can be used to evaluate a particular attribute on the education or the program or the course outcomes. This slide shows, this slide shows some more types of assessments, corresponding questions, and the attributes which can be evaluated. Both these slides are available as a part of the report available on the UGC's website. We can now take up each method of assessment under different modes and list their advantages, limitations, and suggested frequency and use. Take, for example, the written mode shown here. This is the conventional written examination, a traditional essay type, which is basically external examination, which is taken either at the end of a semester or at the end of a year. Advantages are relatively, it is economical, no chances of plagiarism, and the method is quite familiar to most of the students because it has been used for quite some time. The limitations are that it tests mainly the memory. No feedback, can encourage surface learning, and has halo effect. Suggested frequency, it should be preferably at the end of the term, not annual. And suggested use is it can include all types of questions, essay type, short answer, long answers, objectives, and so on. Likewise, one can consider the characteristics of each method of assessment under different modes. For example, given here is an open book type of examination or the test. Here, while the test is being held, the students are allowed to have open books. They can find the answers from them. Obviously, a student will be able to locate the required answer in the open book only if he has gone through. We shall just flip through few slides to indicate the assessment, different assessment types under different modes. We will not discuss most of them. This is open notes type of examination or the test. Their advantages, limitations, etc. The quiz, objective types of test, the multiple choice questions, the recall type of questions, matching the sides from A and B, etc. Phrase answers, etc. This is another type of assessment method which is available under written mode. Some other methods under written, oral, integrated mode or practical modes are listed here. For each one of them, you can have the advantages, disadvantages, at the same time, how they can be used and at what frequency they are recommended for use. Then comes the timing of the assessments. The timelining of assessment should be essentially and necessarily be continuous and must include both the formative and summative components. It must be done in timely manner so that continuous feedback on the student's progress is available. This is one example of how different assessments can be timelined during a semester, during formative, interim, and summative stages. You have, for example, formative types of assessment at the interim level and finally at the end of the course or semester or at the end of the particular unit. These are summatives. You can have different types of assessment, including, say, seminar, group discussion, self-study, projects, tutorials, etc. One can have various models of assessments depending upon the requirements of a program. It can be different for engineering, for science, for arts subjects, or for science subjects. It can be different for a course or a unit, and so on. The focus has to be on the continuous assessment and feedback. Presented here and in next few slides are 6 different models of assessments which can be adapted by an institution with suitable modifications if needed. These models for theory assessment mainly differ in the assessment methods chosen and the relative weightage. This is the relative weightage here. These are different types of methods of assessment. They also differ in the apart from the weightage, the timelining of the different methods of assessment. The ratio of internal to external weightage is mainly taken as an indicative 70 to 30%. Attendance and the end-sem components remain the same. The relative proportion of internal and external mode of assessment is taken as 30 to 70% to begin with. This can increase or can be enhanced to even 50-50 or even 60-40, depending on the type of institution and the success of the reforms which are being introduced. The models presented here are only indicative. The university or a college will have to develop their own model suited to their programs, courses, or units. The ground level reality of our higher education system is that we have huge variation in the quality of education at different institutions, universities, and colleges due to a number of factors. Obviously, therefore, the model of assessment will depend on these factors, apart from the nature of program, course, and unit requirements. This is another model which differs. It is basically a theory model. It differs in the nature of the assessment methods and the weightage. This is third model, again for theory courses. This is fourth model for theory courses. The ratio of internal to external remains same, 70 to 30. The methods of assessments and their weightage are different. Attendance and external end of semester examinations are given due weightage. This model is for practical course. The total marks here are indicative 200. The lab work assessment, you can give the assessment 3 times and best 2 can be taken for the recording. Vivas, lab quiz, etc. can be included. Attendance and end of the course, long practical examination can be given due weightage. This model is for projects or self-study assessments. Project assessment, best 3 out of 4. Participation in discussion can be given 10 marks. This can vary, of course. The ground level reality of our higher education system is that we have huge variation in the quality of education at different institutions, universities, and colleges due to a number of factors. Obviously, therefore, the model of assessment will depend on these factors apart from the project course or unit requirements. Now we come to the most important part of the topic on hand, the recommendations of the UGC Committee on Evaluation Reforms. In the following few slides, these recommendations are described in brief with minor modifications made for the sake of clarity and ease of potential implementation. What should be the objective of examination system or the evaluation system? Objectives should be based on various learning outcomes attainment of program must be the main objectives. Separate suitable models can be adopted for undergraduate, postgraduate, and PhD programs. The emphasis here should be on internal and continuous evaluation. Assessment must include both internal and external evaluation. The proportion of internal to external evaluation can be 30 to 70 to begin with and can be gradually increased to 50-50. In top ranking institutions, the ratio can be 60 to 40 or even the ideal one 70 to 30. There should be no compromise on quality and standards, which should be monitored. Some flexibility may be allowed as ground realities among different institutions vary considerably. Without the use of automation and technology, achieving the evaluation objectives will not be possible. Hence, use of this should be encouraged or rather be made mandatory. Proper question paper setting is a key to the quality evaluation. Hence, this requires special attention. Question papers should be balanced, properly and correctly worded, and well set. The question should be specific and unambiguous, requiring specific answers. Questions can be drawn from the question bank and from the paper setters. The ratio can be at the most 70-30. Periodic audit of question papers, as also that of assessed answer books, and proper follow-up action is a must. To enable horizontal mobility across the higher education institutions, proper and acceptable grading system and credits transfer system must be adopted. For this purpose, it is necessary that some program-wise minimum uniformity with respect to the number of course credits and total credits to facilitate smooth credit transfer. For this, one can follow UGC guidelines available on the UGC website. Also, to ensure this, some uniformity of broad topics with some flexibility may be required to ensure smooth credit transfer and horizontal mobility. Establishment of an equivalence committee at each institution may be necessary. Moderation is required at every stage to ensure fair, trustworthy, dependable, and transparent evaluation system. This should be done at different stages like paper setting, assessment, reassessment, post-evaluation stage, etc. Periodic assessment of overall procedures adopted, quality and standard of the paper setting, assessment and evaluation system as a whole is also required. An examination reform cell at higher education institution level can be established to ensure implementation of the examination reforms. On-demand examinations. It is high time that implementation of concept of on-demand examination is considered seriously to facilitate the learners to take the examination at their own convenient time. This can be initially applied to the distance mode programs, those of Open University and so on. An agency, independent agency can be established for this purpose. Extensive use of automation and technology will be a must. At this point, I recollect as many as 15 to 20 years back, Professor A.P. Sathe from the Institute of Science had mooted this idea of on-demand examination. He tried to pursue this concept at different levels with the authorities, however, not with much success. Malpractices are the cancer of examination systems. They must be checked to ensure credibility of the system. This can be ensured by protection of identity of examinees and examiners from each other. For example, by using encrypted barcodes, randomizing exam scripts, etc. Cheating can be prevented to a large extent if candidates are not allowed to leave the hall for first 90 minutes. Question papers should not be taken out of the examination hall. Transmission of coded question papers to the center through internet just before the examination time, online assessment, etc. are definitely the steps that can be taken. Many of these steps have been initiated by reputed universities already. However, for smaller and autonomous institutions, especially in the colleges in rural and interior areas, much is needed to be done. Technological interventions and automations are must and should be used wherever possible. For example, there are areas like registration, seating arrangement, personalized hall tickets, integration of internal and external results, etc., and many more areas, of course. The automation is a must and must be carried out by the institution. This is necessary so that the teachers are set free from these clerical or administrative tasks so that they can concentrate more on teaching, learning, and evaluation. Most of you teachers will agree that after the introduction of semester system, many of you are bogged down with a lot of clerical work, which leaves little time for the innovations in teaching, learning, and evaluations. Therefore, technological intervention and automations must be encouraged. In fact, should be made mandatory. Question bank. Preparation and use of question bank must be accorded top priority. Question bank should be course-wise, that is, courses, elective courses, etc., with difficulty levels specified. It should contain all types of questions, including short and long answers, objective types, etc. To ensure minimum uniformity, quality, and standards, basic question bank can be provided to all the higher education institutions by the lead college, or better even by UGC or a cluster lead college or lead university. This can be adapted and augmented every year by the concerned higher education institution. Question banks should be sufficiently large with questions under various categories based on learning outcomes. This should be revised periodically. Moderated question banks should be available to teachers and students. For the preparation of question banks, a pool of senior and retired teachers can be roped in. Minimum standardized infrastructure is absolutely essential to ensure proper and foolproof working of the examination and evaluation system. Result declaration is the most crucial element of education system. Credibility and reputation of higher education institution depends on it. Timeliness of declaration of results, clarity of interpretation of a result card, and its comprehensive format are important. Accessibility and verifiability can be made through NAD, that is National Academic Depository. Some of the important issues in the implementation of examination reforms require special mention. Quality of question papers, quality of assessment, transparency, efficient time management, reduction in inputs in terms of time, energy, and money, better credibility, etc., are important. Some of them I have already discussed. However, some require more detailed discussion as they are crucial to the success of the reforms. The foremost is paper setting. It is the most important part of the evaluation system. Have a large question bank which should contain questions of different types, topic-wise with different difficulty levels specified. Specific number or types of topic-wise questions should be drawn from question bank randomly with the help of computers, not by the paper setters or not by even individuals. At many universities, this is done by the controller of examination or a chosen chairman of the paper setting board, etc. It can better be done by computer to ensure the reliability. Only 20 to 25% questions to be set by paper setters. Question papers should have well-defined structure. Questions should be unambiguous. Long questions should be split into short sub-questions. Questions should be such that they require specific answers, which can be assessed without ambiguity. Marks should be indicated for each question and sub-questions. To continue on question paper setting, vague essay type questions must be avoided. Also, give an account of what do you know about, write a note on, etc. types of questions must also be avoided. They should cover entire syllabus with proportionate weightage. There should be no or minimum repetition from the question papers of immediate past. The questions should test the subject comprehension and not only memory. Questions of different types, objective, multiple choice, short answer, conceptual, applied, twisted, etc. questions should be included. It must be able, the question paper must be able to distinguish better students or best students from the average ones. Questions should be of various difficulties levels. In general, a question paper should be such that for an average student, it will be easy to pass, but at the same time, the better or the best students will find the question paper increasingly difficult. Question papers patterns should be made known to the students well in advance. The next point is assessment. Synoptic answers with marking scheme prepared by the paper setters, not the examiners. Paper setters must be discussed with and made available to the examiners. Cluster of 2 or 3 examiners, each assessing only a half or 1/3 part of the paper is desirable. Assessment of entire paper by a single examiner is not advisable. The assess answer books should be shown to the students, and any grievance by the student must be addressed before finalization of the results. This may be useful, especially when the class strength is small. In case of large number of students, re-verification or evaluation must be allowed in a time-bound manner. Use of computers, technology, automation, etc. must be used wherever possible and wherever required. Quality of assessment at undergraduate or postgraduate level can be ensured by dual assessment, that is independent assessment by 2 examiners. Average of marks can be allotted if the difference is less than 10%, and the assessment can be referred to third examiner if the difference is more than 10%. For practical examinations, number of days can be reduced. Part assessment of practical skills can be by internal assessment. Have at least one external examiner for the external practical examination. Transparency is the most important aspect. In order to ensure transparency and hence credibility, following suggestions can be considered. All rules, regulations, circulars, and ordinances issued by the university or the concerned authorities should be made available on website, should be clearly available, and should be also made available in a designated room in the university or college office. Similarly, all information regarding eligibility criteria, etiquette rules, examination program, passing criteria, grading, results, etc. should be made available on website. Academic calendar and all other dates should be strictly adhered to. No changes should be done unless they become absolutely necessary. Email addresses can be used to answer students' questions, preferably on a real-time basis or within the finite time. Results must be declared within time limit. Declaration of results is the most crucial aspect. If this is not done, the institution loses its credibility. It must be communicated to the students by email, SMS, and through the website. I think with this, let me conclude this session by saying considerable improvement in the academic standards can be achieved by implementing the evaluation reforms in true spirit. However, a word of caution is also necessary at this stage. A lot depends on the teachers and the persons working in the examination sections. Support from the management and the authorities can make a lot of difference. Honesty, sincerity, seriousness, efficiency, commitment, motivation, and integrity of all concerned is most essential for the desired results. Otherwise, nothing will work. Honesty and integrity on the part of the concerned people, especially the teachers, become more important. I would like to share one or two experiences of mine. I had visited a college along with my team, a college relatively in the interior parts when the annual examination was in progress. We found a lot of copying was on right under the nose of supervisors, the chief supervisor, and even with the knowledge of the main conductor, that is the principal of the college. Of course, we did carry out the required actions, but then when confronted with the chief supervisor and the principal, why this was being allowed, the answer was really stunning. They said that you people come from the urban areas. The student in the urban areas have more exposure. They have more opportunities. They will always find some job or the other. Where our students will go? They are poor people. They don't have much exposure. They don't have much means. And therefore, we require to give them posts. This can be justification on that part, but it's really not a desirable thing. You will all appreciate. Another example I can recollect is the copying goes on, at a very large scale, even in the urban areas. I do not know the present cases, but I recollect when we government officers were put in charge of the 12th examination being conducted by board when the private college teachers were on strike. Even in a reputed school or reputed junior college, I would say, in Mumbai, our squad found out cheats which filled several gunny bags. Imagine the extent of copying or cheating that must be going on. With this caution, words of caution, let me now end with the acknowledgement, especially to Professor M.M. Salunke, the chairman of the Examination Reforms Committee, and also the report which is available on the UGC website. Thank you very much. I provide here my email ID in case anybody wants to contact me for any queries or guidance or sharing of their experience. Thanks for your participation and patience. I once again thank all the concerned principal, vice principal, and entire team connected with this webinar of this Thakur College. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. It was very informative session, and the deliberation was very, very elaborate with the explanation which was given. I think there are no questions regarding this particular matter, and if there are questions, then the questions can be posted to sir on email ID. I can just check the chat box. There are few questions, but I think you have already answered all the questions, sir. And the participants are kindly requested that if you have any further questions, you can email it to sir directly, or you can contact the team of Thakur College of Science and Commerce, and the questions will be posted to sir. And now may I kindly request Dr. Santosh Singh, to the IQSC coordinator of Thakur College of Science and Commerce, to propose the formal vote of thanks. Dr. Santosh Singh.
Good afternoon, all of you. Here we are at the end of 3 days webinar series organized by Department of Science, Thakur College of Science and Commerce. On behalf of Thakur College of Science and Commerce, and as a capacity of IQSC coordinator, I am here to propose a vote of thanks. I feel deep gratitude towards all the eminent speakers who have enlightened us in these 3 different dimensions of this 3 days webinar. Day 1, on 4th May, we had Dr. Prabodh Chaube, whose topic was Empowering India, Role of Researcher and Teachers. Day 2, we had Dr. Shailendra Saxena, who was talking on COVID-19 here with the medical perspective things. And day 3, today, we had Dr. N.V. Thakkar, changing scenario in a higher education. Sir, we have a lot to take after this session. We understood here the difference between examination and evaluation, and it is really remarkable. We understood here some of the model of a Bloom taxonomy here, and which is also a remarkable. We have also understood here the need of process automation and use of technology as a part of process here, and it is going to be very, very useful. Thank you very much, sir, for all your kind suggestions.
Thank you.
I'm also very, very thankful to this Thakur College of Management and Principal Dr. C.T. Chakravarti, who is always a source of inspiration for us. She is a torchbearer who always take a lot of initiative towards a various skill and talent enhancement program. And we have taken a lot of things, lot of initiative in the past, and will continue to take, sir. We can very well understand, sir, learning is an ongoing process, and here each and everyone is having a lot of take away, and they will surely spread this quality education in the long run. I'm very much thankful to all the participants who have joined here towards this 3 days webinar. I'm also thankful to the organization team, our technical team, who has given a valued time towards the success of this webinar. Thank you so much, all of you, for this webinar. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Santosh sir, for your kind words of the vote of thanks. And all the participants, you will be given a link for the feedback which you are going to give. And after that, your e-certificate can be mailed to you. But before ending the session, may I kindly request every one of you to please rise for the national anthem to end the program. Everyone, please.
गुजरात मराठा द्राविड़ मराधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंधु गुजरात मराठा द्राविड़ उत्कल गंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्छल गंगा तब शुभ नाम सब शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तब जय गाथा जन गण मंगल दायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता
जय हे
जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे जन गण मन
Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much, Dr. N.V. Thakkar. We are really thankful to the management of the college, principal of the college, and everyone who made it possible. And thank you so much, wonderful delegates who have joined us across India. The link of the feedback will be sent to the WhatsApp group, and you are going to give the feedback. After that, your e-certificate can be generated. And with the permission from the chair, Dr. N.V. Thakkar, may we conclude the session now, please? Sir.
Thank you very much, sir. It was great pleasure to be on this webinar. Not only today's session, I also attended the first session of Dr.
Yes,
Shobib, and of course the second session by Dr. Saxena. It was some technical problem. I had joined initially, got disconnected, and that later I was not able to reconnect. But I understand all the three webinars were excellent, were well attended by the participants, and I must congratulate the authorities of Thakur College, especially the principal, Madam Dr. Chakraborty, Dr. Ajgekar, Dr. Vinit Vaidya, Santosh Singh Sahab, Dr. Padde sir, and many others whose names I perhaps may not be able to recollect right now. But this was excellent initiative on the part of the Thakur College. I'm sure Thakur College is doing many things. I have visited this college earlier many times, but not in recent times. But I do know from several other people that the Thakur College is doing excellent, and the credit must go not only to the principal and management, but you all teachers, mainly the teaching faculties, the those who are involved in the administration, and all those who are on the supporting back, technical staff, etc. My congratulations and compliments to you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you so
very
much,
much,
sir.
sir.
Yeah.
Thank
so
you.
much,
We
sir.
are concluding this session. Thank you, every one of you.
Yeah.
Please be in touch with us. Thank you.
Thank you very much.